The high in Texas today might be 90 degrees, but in my heart, it's fall. And when I think about fall, my mind can't help but go to the place that's like, what book would very specifically fit this occasion and my notions of what fall is all about? So I put together a list of my favorite romances that I feel like absolutely encapsulate the season and are the perfect books to cozy up with this time of year. And I went the extra mile this time around to pick books that I believe are really underhyped, and I think some of these you've probably never even heard of before. So hopefully you can find something that perfectly fits your fall vibe. One thing that always fits the vibe though, sponsored in today's video, HelloFresh, that made this video possible in more ways than one. Now, y'all may have noticed that I have been absent from your subscription box for a little while. That is because I have been sick for the past 2 weeks after a vacation. Now, I had fully intended to kick things back into gear when I got back and make tons of videos for you, but I was so under the weather and I just could not make that happen. And HelloFresh made recovering so much easier. Now, I'm the meal planner and the grocery list curator in our family, but when I'm sick, last thing I want to do is scour the internet for recipes. With HelloFresh, I can select delicious, easy to follow recipes, and pre-portioned ingredients are going to arrive on my doorstep, and I'm not going to have to do any work. Hayden and I have used HelloFresh in the past, and we have absolutely loved it, but it has been a second, and I have to say, this time around ordering from HelloFresh, it's only gotten better. When I went to select recipes this time, I was like, wow, there are a lot more options than I seem to remember last time we used HelloFresh. Makes sense, because actually their menu has doubled in size. Not only that, the portions themselves have gotten bigger, which I can definitely personally attest to. I feel like you're getting so much bang for your buck, and like every portion is going to fill you up. Okay, so this week we got 4 really great meals, 2 of which we've already had. The paprika chicken in a lemony sauce we had a couple of days ago. It was phenomenal. We also had the prosciutto chicken and roasted almonds, which hit so hard after being sick. Like, wanted something really hearty. I really enjoyed that one. I think tomorrow we're gonna have the oregano chicken with couscous feta salad. Today we're having the spicy Peruvian cauliflower bowls. I had never seen this one on the site before, but I'm really excited about it. We normally eat meat with our meals. Normally we have chicken because I'm a chicken girl, but every once in a while we like to have some meatless meals. So I'm very excited. This is the one that Hayden is preparing us today. Here she is. Here's the final product. I am so excited to dig into this. I also, again, am excited because I feel like I don't normally gravitate towards veggie options. This one just looked so good. So if you were looking for great vegetarian options, they have them. Also are focusing a lot on high protein options. I noticed when I was combing through various recipes, I think that's been like my one complaint previously is I'm very obsessed with macros and making sure that the meals that I'm eating are working towards my goals. And HelloFresh now has so many high protein options. As a part of that too, you can now swap out some of the proteins in some of the meals for some of the more premium options without having to pay a premium price. So I obviously love chicken. That's like my main thing. But if you like steak or seafood, you can swap a protein and get those out the added cost. And there's even more kid-friendly recipes on the menu too. I think that's something that people have like brought up in the past is like, oh, my kids won't eat these recipes, but there's so many things on the menu now that kids would absolutely love. And for busy nights, they have ready-made options that are easy to make in as little as 3 minutes. So basically, no matter what, HelloFresh has your back for incredible meals to feed yourself and your family. That's so good. I actually really love the cauliflower. Sorry, I had to sneak a couple bites, and I do want to get back to my meal. Before I do, you should take advantage of the new HelloFresh by using code chandlerhf and HelloFresh.com, and you can get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. 1 free meal per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount in first box. New or returning subscribers only. Varies by plan. Sign up today. Click the link below or use my code chandlerhf at HelloFresh.com. Thanks so much to HelloFresh for keeping me fed and for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now let's talk fall romances. Now, first up on my list is Someday Someday by Emma Scott. I sort of forgot about this book, but this is like my go-to recommendation if anyone is ever looking for a Thanksgiving romance, because I distinctly remember this book kind of taking place in that time period. And I feel like it is one of my go-to recommendations for fall, because when I think fall, I want a romance that has a little bit more heart to it than your typical summer rom-com. That's not to say that summer rom-coms can't be serious. I mean, obviously Abby Jimenez writes plenty of them. I want something that goes a little bit deeper, and Emma Scott is the queen of going deep with her contemporary romances. This particular book is a male-male romance that we'll say is pretty heavy on the trauma, but does such a good job at creating characters who feel so real and so well fleshed out, and as a result, the romance feels just as raw and real as well. This book is about Max, who at a very young age was kicked out of his home for being gay. He is recovering from addiction, and he has put himself through nursing school, and now he has a really great position as a caretaker for an ailing billionaire. This guy is probably going to pass away pretty soon, and all of his fortune is going to pass to his son Silas. Silas, but that is if Silas acquiesces to the demands of his father, one of which is that Silas cannot be gay, and Silas is of course gay. I believe he goes through conversion therapy, not in the book in specific, but he has been in the past. He is trying his very, very best to live up to the expectations of his father, but he meets Max when Max is caretaking for Silas's father, and these two really fall for each other. I think the thing that Emma Scott does so beautifully is creating characters that feel real. And it seems silly to say that, but it's not very often that I come across characterization that I am genuinely bowled over by. None of her characters feel one-dimensional. They all have flaws and interests, and sometimes those interests are things that I've never heard of, and I just think that she really goes deep with her characters every single time, and it's something that I always appreciate with her stories. I think if you pick up any Emma Scott book, you would be more than pleased with the stories she's written. But I really like Someday, especially in the fall time when I'm wanting something maybe a little bit more emotionally resonant. So I really enjoyed this book. Again, check the trigger warnings because it's not an easy read. There's a lot of, trauma involved in some of the things the characters are going through, but I absolutely love this book. Now, next up, a book that's a little bit more lighthearted, but I believe is set in the fall time, which is kind of why I'm putting it on this list. Honey and Spice. This book is so real and so raw, but also so freaking funny. This book follows our main character, Kiki, who has her own radio show at university, and I believe this book is set in the UK. But she's got her own radio show, and her radio show is not like, oh, here's the new hit song. It is, let me show you how to not get swindled by the fuckboys on campus. But her advice is not taken as seriously as she would like whenever she is caught kissing one of the campus fuckboys, Malachi, and now she is trying to revive her reputation on campus so that, she can keep this radio show going, and so people actually take her advice. And she ends up fake dating Malachi as a result. She's like, oh, I know how to change him, like I can fix him. And it is just so much fun. I really felt the chemistry between Kiki and Malachi. Love Kiki's sense of humor. If you've ever watched Chewing Gum, created by the incredible Michaela Cole, I think that you will really like this. I think the humor is not the exact same, but it definitely has that sort of essence. It's like a little cheeky, but there's definitely some nice like social commentary here. Again, like we've got commentary on dating. Such a fun book. For me, it's a fall recommendation because it's set at university in the fall, but I also think this one strikes the perfect balance between being funny and lighthearted, but also like a little heart to it, a little bit of seriousness. And honestly, it's got me wanting to read the sequel. There's a sequel to this one, but I absolutely loved this, and it totally reads as a standalone. Next up, we're getting back into emotional territory and also non-smutty territory. So if you're looking for a romance that doesn't have any on-page sex, maybe Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan will be up your alley. This book I do not think is talked about nearly enough, considering that Julia Whelan is the narrator for like all of Emily Henry's books, and also this book sort of feels like an Emily Henry book. So if you like Emily Henry, I think you would absolutely adore this story. It is about Sawani and Brock. Sawani is a audiobook narrator, and this was not necessarily her passion in life or her dream job. She actually really wanted to become an actor, but she gets into an accident and doesn't feel like she is a leading lady enough now after this accident, and something that she has put on herself. It's not, I believe, anything that anyone has told her. She really likes the comfort this job has afforded her because she is helping her grandmother pay for assisted living. Unfortunately, her grandma is experiencing memory loss and is going to have to move to an even more expensive memory care facility. And Sawani is like, okay, I'm making good money with my job, but I think I could make a little bit more if I start narrating romance audiobooks. There's a lot of money in it, and even though I've always sworn off romance audiobooks because I just don't love like that, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it, especially because there is a really famous author who has just passed away who really wants Sawani to narrate this audiobook. She's like, I guess I'll do this. And in doing so, she ends up getting into leagues with the male book narrator for the romance that she's going to narrate. His name is Brock, and these two have such a fun romance. It's really built off of not seeing each other, right? Like the magic, I guess, of audiobooks is that you get to really sink into a story and listen to a beautiful voice, but you're not really like picturing the person that's narrating the book. And in this case, a lot of this relationship is built off of, I don't think they call each other. I think it's mostly just text messages. I can't entirely remember. It is phone calls. It's been a second since I've read this one, but yeah, this romance is really built off of these two getting to know each other without the context of sex, without the context of, really seeing each other. I loved the story. I loved watching Sawani open up and be emotionally vulnerable with Brock. That was something that she really needed in her character journey. It was just so much fun to read, and it definitely made me tear up a couple of times. I think I read this for a Goodreads choice word video and just really hit me. I love this book, and I don't think this book gets nearly enough attention, especially considering its author's other book. I think My Oxford Year just got a movie. I didn't like that book, but I love this one, and I think this one, it deserves all of the hype. It's so good. Again, if you like Emily Henry, pick this book up. If you're looking for something, again, that feels like a little bit women's fiction-y, isn't really focused on the sexy times, I think you would absolutely adore this. Next up is, I think, the one recommendation on this list that you could say is really popular, and I probably didn't need to include, but it just felt so fall fall, and I had to include it. I had to include it. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young is just one of those books that feels like a comfy, cozy, warm hug. Just like the sweater, to be honest. I don't think there are many books out there that elicit the feeling that this book gave me. I just don't tend to like cozy books. I don't tend to love books without a third act breakup or true third act conflict, but this book somehow convinced me a book can be good without those things. So this book is about Win and Bo. They both have limb differences, and they both met each other at a Halloween party that their friends were throwing. And these two meet and they just click instantly. I love the chemistry that they have at this sort of like chance encounter Halloween party. Like these two strangers meet and instantly have this connection, and I was like totally convinced of it. Like that never happens. They have a one night stand, and then we find out Win is pregnant, and she doesn't know what she wants to do. She has always wanted, I believe, to be a parent. She decides, okay, I'm gonna raise this kid. I think I want Bo to be involved. I think I want to get back into contact with him, but kind of makes dating complicated. Like I didn't necessarily think I was gonna date this guy anyway, but it's like, now do we date? Do we keep things, platonic so we can raise this kid together? How is that gonna work? And I mean, obviously these two fall in love over the course of the story. I just loved it. I loved the interactions between the two of them. I felt like they were so well suited for each other. Like there are not many puzzle piece romances again that I read these days, but I think these two were like perfect for each other, and it was just a delight of a story. Like seeing two people so compatible together and basically raise a kid together, I mean, it was just charming. It kind of gave me the same feelings that I get when I watch Gilmore Girls. Is it thematically similar? No. Is it set in the same kind of small town? No. But if you were someone who just wants a story that feels like a hug, like you have to pick this book up. And again, it even made the prize pregnancy or pregnancy trope in general something that I don't hate. So hats off to Hannah Bonham Young for that, because this was phenomenal. Next up is a book that I haven't read in quite a while, but I absolutely adore, and it just serves really, really great friends to lovers excellence, which is one of my favorite tropes if you were unaware. Meeting Millie by Claire Ashton is a female-female romance that kind of spans decades, I want to say. We've got our two main characters, Charlotte and Millie. Charlotte is a lesbian who is, I believe, out at the beginning of the story, and Millie is supposedly straight. Now, these two are friends in university. I believe this one is also set in the UK, if I'm remembering correctly, and both women want to be attorneys. One of the women does not end up becoming an attorney, but when they're in school together, that's kind of what they want. And we get to see their like friendship sort of build and blossom. Then 10 years later, we realize these women are not friends anymore. They meet again and are going to rekindle this friendship. And over the course of the story, we're getting flashbacks and starting to kind of understand what tore these two apart, like what the conflict was that made these two not friends anymore. We get to see growing feelings happening in the present day. And I feel like in the past timeline as well, we had Millie helping Charlotte try to find a girlfriend, and it's just that complicated blend of like, you're my best friend and I love you. Maybe there's romantic feelings here. I don't know if I'm like willing to share those feelings because I'm scared that you're gonna reject me. It's just exactly what I like in a romance. I love a good friends to lovers story. I felt like this one was just crafted so excellently, and I wouldn't say this one felt like a warm hug necessarily, because I was like on edge at times, like wondering if these two would like actually get together, but it was just a whole lot of fun to read. And I think that if you were looking for a good friends to lovers story, you want that kind of like built-in angst and tension, you're gonna get it here. And I think you need to check this one out. This is one that definitely flies under the radar, I think. And then lastly, this is one that I'm not quite sure if I'd say flies under the radar, but I think if you were someone who only got into reading semi-recently, I don't think you would have heard of this one, and it is Magic Bites by Ilona Andrews. Now, Ilona Andrews, very popular author-writing duo, husband-wife team. They wrote the Hidden Legacy series, which I think I recommend here fairly often, and I know a fair amount of you have read, but Magic Bites is the first book in the Kate Daniels series. It's a complete series, which I really, really love. It is just a lot of fun for the fall time. I feel like for me, paranormal romance series to dive into, to listen to the audiobooks when I'm bored and going about my everyday tasks, is what I'm looking for. And I'm probably going to reread these and probably reread some Nalini Singh this fall. I just love paranormal romance in the fall. So this series follows Kate Daniels. She is a mercenary, I want to say, in this particular magic system or society. We've got magic that rises at certain times of days or weeks or whatever, and then it recedes into the background and technology rises, right? So whenever magic is kind of surged into the world, people can cast spells and do really dastardly shit, but technology is down. So you can't text, you can't use the internet, you can't do anything like that. And when the magic recedes, again, you can use technology, you can drive cars, etc., etc., and it makes makes life a little bit challenging and complicated because we don't know when these magic surges are going to happen. Things can be done in certain times that can't be done in others. Shit is afoot in this book. It gets a little crazy in this first one. The plotline of this first book is that Kate is trying to help solve a mystery. There are two warring factions. You've got the necromancers and you've got the shapeshifters, and they are blaming each other for a series of killings that have been going on. And Kate is really determined to figure out what happened because her guardian has recently been murdered and she thinks it might have something to do with this particular situation. And in doing so, she ends up getting into leagues, not to spoil anything, with the shapeshifters, mayhaps kind of starting to fall in love with one of them. It is juicy. It is fun. It is one of those books that I think so many people would enjoy, especially if you love, you know, Sarah J. Maas and you like, what is it, Crescent City series. I think if you like magic and technology together, or you like a fantasy world that isn't necessarily like based off of like medieval times and is fantastical, like I think you are going to love these books. They're so good. And I think Alona Andrews does such a good job at crafting, again, female main characters that are strong, interesting, who have layers, not any one thing. And I love the romances that are built as well because they build over the course of a book series. You're not being, you know, wham bam, thank you ma'am in the first book, which, I mean, hey, like, I like a smutty scene from time to time, but more often when I'm reading a kind of fantasy-based romance series, I want the romance to build slowly over time. So, like, you gotta check this one out. I think it's a really good one, and I think it's one that doesn't get the love it deserves. I feel like these books do need a reskin. I think that they do need to be marketed again because I really think these could, like, do numbers these days because they're so good. They're so good. Those are my 6 recommendations for fall for you. I wanted to include a little bit of everything. You know, when I'm thinking fall, most of the time I'm thinking I want an emotionally resonant story or I want something really fantastical to really sink my teeth into, and I hope that you got something from this video that feels new and fresh to you. Hopefully something you've never heard of or something that's been on your radar but you haven't been sure about. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite kinds of books to read for fall are, and or like what you would recommend to me to read for fall. I would love to know. Thanks so much for watching this video. I love y'all so much. I'll see you in the next one.